Hello there, everybody. I hope you found a very pleasant weekend wherever you were. We had some beautiful weather up at our lake house, so we were able to be outside and on the boat a little bit and have some fun that way. And several of our lake neighbors put on some great fireworks displays, so it was kind of nice to just be able to watch from the bug-free air-conditioned comfort of our home and watch some fireworks out the windows. So hope you all had a great holiday weekend. In case this is your first time here on Make It With Me Monday, I just want to mention to you guys that I have this, hi Sherry, hi Mary Lynn, nice, I'm so glad you could make it this week. I have, as you can tell, I have my screen, well maybe you can't tell, I have another screen in my studio where I can see the comments pop up and that sort of thing, so if you have any questions as I go through anything tonight, type them in and I'll do my best to catch them, otherwise I will answer them after I sign off, and you'll be able to find this video later on my page, and I also post a YouTube link to watch much later. Hi Karen, hope you guys are doing well down there in Florida. So just in case, like I said, any questions, type them in as we go. The idea here is you can either stamp right along with me, or you can watch what I do and then go back and review and do it yourself later. So before we get started, while we wait for a couple more people to hop on, hi Carol. I just want to remind you guys that this month there is a 15% off select designer series papers. If you've been stamping on Mondays with me, you'll notice I do pick the ZSPs out a lot, mostly because we get a lot of bang for our buck with color, pattern, etc. And I always think that some of you guys have, or most of you guys have some kind of pattern paper on hand. So just a quick reminder, if you've got the current annual catalog, you're going to start on page 130, and it's Beauty of the Earth, Bloom Where You're Planted, Hand Penned, In Good Taste, In the Wild, Pansy Petals, hi Kathy, nice to see you tonight, Sweet Symmetry, Tidings of Christmas, and You're a Peach. And if you follow my Facebook page, I will spend most of the next couple of weeks posting samples and more descriptions of the papers and that sort of thing. And if you guys want to take advantage of that special, I hope you do so. A 15% off is a pretty good deal to stock up, especially if you like the Christmas one. You could stock up on some Christmas patterns, get your cards going. It's really kind of a nice deal. Okay, so let's review what we should have on hand. You should have cardstock. That's 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. I'm going to be using thick white. Another sheet, it's 3 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. I'm also going to keep that in the thick white. You should have one pattern of DSP where you've cut a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4, and then 2 pieces that are 2 1/2 by 4. This is from the DSP stack for the color families. This is Old Olive, which is part of the Regals family. And there's the other side in case you were curious. It's got these little dots on it. And then your second patterned paper was 3 1/4 by 4, and then 2 pieces 1 7/8 by 3 1/4. I also did mention on there if you wanted to substitute regular cardstock for any or all of these rectangles here, you totally could, depending on what kind of patterns you had and that sort of thing. And then you should have a piece of neutral paper, and I hope that you guys caught my little boo-boo, and you've cut one now that's 3 by 3 3/4. I had initially put 1/4 on there, and that's not big enough, so 3 by 3 3/4. And then you should have stamps and inks and accessories that we can color, use to fill in our neutral piece of cardstock. I started a little bit ahead of time because I'm actually going to be doing some coloring. Afterwards, I will have all of this posted, of course, on the Facebook page so you can see all the samples, ask the questions as we go, and that sort of thing. Okay, so grab your stamps and your inks and your neutral piece of cardstock, and go ahead and fill in whatever you're filling in, whether you've got words, phrases, images, all that kind of stuff. So fill up your whole 3 by 3 1/4 piece as much as you'd like. So I used my giraffe from the Back on Your Feet. Whoop, there we go. Back on Your Feet stamp set. This guy's kind of cute. It's more for like get wells or accidents or something like that. So I kind of like the ouch and hope you're back on your feet, hope things get better, that kind of thing. So this guy here, of course, this is not good with the K, of course, because he's got a twisty neck. So he's kind of cute. So I stamped him in Memento black ink, and then I'm going to use my blends. I've already colored in with Old Olive and with, I think this is bronze. Yep, bronze, to start this, the polka dots. What am I looking for there? You know what I'm saying. Spots. There we go. Hi, Aunt Mary. Good to see you tonight. And then I'm going to finish him off with Mango Melody. So I'm going to start with a little bit of dark around the edges. And again, you guys go ahead, stamp up yours. When you kind of have yours done, give me a little thumbs up or something on the comments section that tells me you're caught into where we are. And I can go ahead and start with the assembly parts. Okay, so there I added a little bit of dark around the edges. Now I'm going to take my light and use that to blend around. I want to skip his eyeball. I'm also going to go over some of the parts that are already done in the bronze and pull in some of that darker color into the areas around it. And I like to blend either end. Actually works for blending, but over a big surface like this, I like to blend with my brush tip, but you don't want to push straight down because you'll bend the fibers and eventually they'll separate and that won't be good for your marker. So I use it like a paintbrush. Okay, so you go up and down like a paintbrush. All right, so there is my fully colored in giraffe. And then I'm gonna go ahead, hi Mom, good to see you tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and add my phrase in Old Olive, which is the "That's Not Good." And that's all I'm gonna do on mine. My basic on-camera sample is usually pretty simple, so to speak. And then I show you guys stepped up versions and that sort of thing. All right, give me some thumbs up or shout outs or something that I'm okay to work on assembly portions at this point. Otherwise, I'll give you guys another second or two here. In the meantime, I want to give a shout out to fellow demonstrator Dawn Griffith. She's the one, all right, good job Aunt Mary, you're on track. Where I took the measurements from her video specifically for this. This type of card is called a Z fold, in case you didn't catch on to that from my little hint on there. So we're gonna go ahead and start creating our Z's. I know, Kathy, they're so cute. Normally the cutesy animals are not my thing, but I am really being drawn to them lately, so that's kind of fun. Okay, go ahead and set aside your image piece for now. Grab your piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 11, and we're gonna score, or where you're gonna score, you're gonna do your nice fold here. So you got your 5 1/2. Give that a nice burnish with bone folder, edge of your fingernail, or whatever. Now where the 2 3/4 portion, we're gonna bend that back, okay? So now you have, if you look at it this way, you can see where you kind of have a Z, and that's where this card gets its name from, a Z fold, okay? So there's your first one. We're gonna do the same thing to our second piece. So fold in the halfway point, which should be your 4 1/4. And then fold back on your 2 1/8 and get that nice and burnished. Okay, let's set the smaller one aside for now. We're gonna start with our bigger piece. So this is the one where you're gonna have the DSPs that are 4 by 5 1/4 and your 2 1/2 by 4s, okay? Those 2 1/2 by 4s are gonna go here and here. Okay, so start with that. Use whatever adhesive you've got on hand, whether that be glue or my tape runner doesn't want to get started. There we go. Maybe it thinks it's on vacation still, just like some of us got to have the day off today, right? For the 5th of July. Pardon me while I pick up a piece of paper. I fell on the floor. Okay, so we're gonna put one of our 2 1/2 by 4 panels there. And again, if you used cardstock instead of DSP for these rectangles, that's what you're putting there instead, is your cardstock versus the DSP. Alrighty, and then as you can probably guess, your 4 by 5 1/4 piece is gonna go in the big empty spot that's left. Okay. And that is all we are gonna do. Whoops, mine's a little too not centered. See if I can get that off nicely before it adheres too much. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. I tried to catch it as quick as I can. All right, there we go. It gives you guys another second to do yours. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, So there's your first one. It's gonna fold like this, so keep the measure, that part that direction, if that makes sense. Okay, now grab your small one and you're gonna flip it this way. So you want the biggest portion facing up and the little fold part goes in the back, okay? So this is where you're gonna put the piece that is 3 1/4 by 4. Oh dear. I kind of have butterfingers today, I've noticed throughout the day. So my apologies if there's crashing noises there. Okay, so there is the 3 1/4 by 4. Then when you come out this way, that is where your other two rectangles are gonna go. That were the 1 7/8 by 3 1/4. Okay, like so. And again, this DSP I have here is from the Color Families. This is Bumblebee, so it's in the pack with the in colors from 2020 to 2021. Okay, there you go. Okay, so you've got one that's ready to go this way and one that's ready to go this way. Okay, make sure your guys are keeping that part straight. Grab your neutral cardstock that you decorated up however you did with your images and phrases, etc. This is gonna go on the front of this piece right here. So that DSP right there frames your image. Okay. All right, thumbs up if everybody has made it this far. Don't want to get too far ahead of you guys if you're watching how all the folds go together. So give me some shout outs or some thumbs up or something that tells me you guys are pretty much on track where I am. There's a thumbs up, good to see. All right. Hi Michelle, nice to see you. Hope everything's doing well out there by you. Okay, so hopefully you are caught up this far. Okay, now go ahead and refold this and flip it over, and we're gonna put adhesive just on the back of that particular rectangle, okay? So run your tape or glue or whatever you're using down that one, okay? Flip that back over, hold on to it for a second, bring this one in place and fold it closed. You're gonna wanna center this so it's about in the middle of the card, so this should kind of be a frame around that piece. So make sure you've got it pretty much centered. And as you can see, they should almost touch in the middle, okay? And then when you've got that, you're gonna just use your bone folder, fingernail, whatever, just kind of burnish that spot right there. Okay, so there's one attachment. So far it should look like this, basically. So that tiny little far right rectangle is attached to that in such a manner that it will fill in that part of the frame. Okay, then open this part back up. You want adhesive only on the right half of this piece right here now, the big rectangle in the front. So just do a little bit of adhesive down the right edge. Make sure this is nice and flat, and then simply close it. And then do your burnishing so that you get that adhesive to stick nice and tight. Okay, and now if you look at it from the top, you should have 2 Z's. So this is a double Z fold. So whoop, 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 there you go. That is how you put that together. Okay, now if you had any extra embellishments or anything like that, you can take this from this point and keep going with whatever you want to do. I'll show you a couple samples of, so this is the simplest version of this for me. Oh, I was going to show you one other thing. If you want to add phrases or anything to this, I'm just going to take my little ouch stamp on a piece of scrap paper. I hope you got all that, Mary. You think it's really a fun fold. Okay, here we go. And I'm just going to just straight up cut that out. So I'm not really worried too much about my straight lines. I try to get them as close as I can. Whoops. See, butterfingers today. And voila. Okay. Then I will add a little adhesive to the back of that. And I'm just going to put that word right there. Ouch. Then Okay, Mary Lynn, don't worry if you aren't quite there. And remember, this will be available when you're done. When I'm done, it'll post to the page. You can keep rewatching it. And I will also put it up on my YouTube page, and you can keep stopping it and rewinding it as many times as you need to until you've got the whole thing. Okay, I'm not signing off yet, so if you have questions as you go, just holler, and I will take a peek. All right, so here's another version of the one I just demonstrated. Karen, I can't wait to see what you come up with. I loved your black and white cards from was that last week or 2 weeks ago? I lose track. Okay, so the differences here are I chose to use both designer series paper and cardstock. And I took the cardstock and I sent it through my embossing machine with the hammered metal folder because I thought it kind of mimics the spots on the giraffe. I did, instead of DSP here, because it was going to really be hidden, I did a couple layers of just cinnamon cider, bumblebee, and then onto the white again. And I fussy cut my giraffe out and popped him up. I got along with the words as well. So it gives him a little bit of dimension. And then I added a panel for the word ouch, so I could also then fill in more words or signature, you know, like whatever you want to do. You can absolutely decorate this panel as well. And as you'll see again, there's my hammered metal embossing folder parts on the old olive. And then these are more patterns from the DSP packs for the color family, so olive and bumblebee. Okay, so there's my stepped up version of my giraffe. So again, whenever I do a step up, it's usually just adding on layers, texture, something like that. So here's another one I did. This is featuring one of the DSPs that's on sale this week, or this month I should say, which is the In Good Taste. In Good Taste has a lot of wood patterns, tiles, paint spackle, very realistic looking. Now they're not photorealistic, but they're very, like, you feel like you could just like reach out and touch the texture in them. They're that really cool. So I took a couple of the wood patterns for that. And I wanted to point out here, I did do different cardstocks. So my base is Early Espresso, but the base of this part of the Z fold I did in the vanilla. So you don't necessarily have to have the cardstock parts match. I mean, to be the exact same. You just want them to match and coordinate. So play off your designer series papers, play off the colors, whatever you're doing there. And then I used the stamp set called Whiskey Business. It's on page 49 of the current annual catalog. And I fussy cut my decanter and my cup. And then sending you an old-fashioned birthday card and cheers to you. Whoop, let me drop that back down. And cheers to you. So both these phrases come from that Whiskey Business card. And like I said, I grabbed a few of the wood patterns. I thought they were really pretty tones together. So that is that one. And then this one is a little bit more fancy again. This is the hand-penned designer series paper. It's absolutely one of my favorites in the new catalog. I keep going to hand-penned and pansy petals. And what's funny is I don't have either of the stamp sets that those collections are a part of. I am just in love with the paper. So when you're looking at a suite or a collection, don't overlook the parts, because if it doesn't the whole thing appeal to you, that's totally fine. You can find so many ways to use the different elements of a suite. So for this one, I have the DSP from Hand Penned. This is actually the opposite side of that paper even too. So it's the pale papaya with polka dots, and then this really pretty floral pattern. I'll try to get, there we go. Pretty floral pattern with pale papaya, and I think it's saffron. I have to double check the color of the yellow. But I took Color and Contour, which I thought has a really fun flower image, and I stamped that and fussy cut it and added some pale papaya ribbon, thank you Sherry, to the inside there. And then I'm gonna see if it'll show up. I added some, there you can kind of see, it almost looks like it's got dew on the petals, and then down here as well. I used the shimmery crystal effects, and that's similar to your Wink of Stella pen. It adds shimmer, but then it also has a raised, and like I said, it looks wet, but it's not. So it's kind of like a dew-like effect. That is really kind of fun to play with. So I used a few of those pieces, put the little arrow fold in there, a little bit of background stamping. And again, these parts all come from Color and Contour, which is on page 98. And then the DSP is hand penned. I used mint macron in the background to pull in the greens from the leaves. Okay, so there's that. And there again, you could add words, phrases, decorations. You could add a couple more of those flowers. this one I would probably be a good card to actually hand to someone as opposed to sending through the mail. It's going to have a lot of thickness and dimension to it. However, I just think these are really fun to play with, and you just kind of just want to keep doing this all the time. All right, so there is, let's see if I can get all of them in the same shot. All right, Mary, how are you doing? Any other questions I can answer for you? You just shout them out. Otherwise, send me messages later, and I will get you caught up to where we are if you had any issues. Okay, there they all are. So again, take your basics and then play with what else you have. Add dimension, add accessories like your ribbons and your bling, all that kind of fun stuff. So I know this one was a little more stepped up than we might normally do, but I actually had someone ask me about a Z-fold about a month or so ago, and I finally got around to adding it to our Monday night thing. So hopefully, Kathy, that was what you were looking for. My cousin Kathy Jo was the one who asked me about that one. So again, hopefully that was what she was looking for. All right, great, Mary Lynn, I'm so glad. Okay. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your evening. And again, if you need to check back, this will be on the Facebook page and on YouTube probably within the next 20 minutes or so. All right, thank everybody for joining me again tonight. And oh, Mel, look at you. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, then I hope that you guys will all join me again next week, Monday. Keep an eye on you're very welcome, Kathy. Keep an eye on the page for all the details for next week. I should have it posted hopefully by the middle of the week. All right, have a great night, everybody. Bye.